Welcome to the big conversation right here on Rapid Television.
Today's conversation is about football, sports in Nigeria. And as you know, the greatest sporting event, some say in the entire world, is underway.
Yeah.
48 nations, packed stadiums from Los Angeles to Toronto to Mexico City. Billions of viewers worldwide, and Nigeria, the country that turned the 1994 World Cup into a global party that gave the world J.J. Okocha, Rashidi Ekini, and Nwankwo Kanu. Nigeria is not there again for the second consecutive World Cup. A generation of extraordinary Nigerian talent, Victor Osimhen, Ademola Lookman, Calvin Bassey, is watching from the sidelines. Not because they are not good enough, because they absolutely are good. Imagine, take a look at all of the, should I say, call it a fight around Victor Osimhen, one of the hottest players we have here in Nigeria, and I dare to say in the world as well. Now, the question we will attempt to answer today is, what is wrong with the system around them? If they are good enough and the system is not working for them, then the administration, the funding, the pipeline, the planning should also be questioned. And today we have a guest who has covered this story from the press box and shaped it from the boardroom as well. Kelechi Onwudiwe. He's a broadcaster, a sports commentator and analyst, and one of Nigeria's most astute voices in sports journalism. Welcome, and thank you for joining us on the show this morning.
Well, thank you very much for the huge introduction.
Yeah, we are colleagues, so I mean, we need to go the drum. It's not an easy job.
Definitely.
I'm absolutely delighted to be on Rapid TV.
It's good to have you.
For Nigeria not being at the World Cup, I thought if I wore this to discuss the World Cup, that means we're there.
No, we're not kicking the ball.
Because I mean, just passively, I was dropping a conversation around some of those viewing centers in Abuja, and the guy kept lamenting about the fact that people don't come out so much to watch football as they would. You know, when Nigeria is part of the game, when you watch who this is playing against, you know who Nigeria is playing against next, and you'll be able to measure whether or not they are a fit, contender for what Nigeria is also contending for. So let's just talk about it in general. What is the body language? How do you feel, sports enthusiasts, and as Nigerians, not being at the World Cup for the second consecutive time?
It's a catastrophe. That's why it's an absolute tragedy, to be honest with you, because you ruled out all these players. You understand that? I mean, how can they not be at the World Cup? To be honest with you, this is the last time I know anyone who they told in 2022 that will also miss 2026 to say, oh, get out here. But that's what it is. It's so sad. And to me and to everyone who follows our football very closely, it needn't have happened at all. There's quite some talent there. Cape Verde is doing very well at the World Cup. I don't think, as well as they're doing, I don't even have the right now to say they are not better than we are, because they made it and we did not make it, right? So I can't even say what I wanted to say, like, if you put side by side with our team that we're better. I can't say that anymore because they made it, we didn't. So it's, I mentioned the generation of players, talented, playing in big clubs in Europe, experienced, you understand? And I mean, look at the last two AFCONs, second, third, and we can't go to the World Cup. Ghana can't just make the AFCON. I mean, losing to Comoros, but Ghana can make the World Cup. As I was telling someone, I said, it's good doing this stuff at the AFCON, but this is our thing. This is almost every 2 years, right? We go and we do it again. This is the World Cup. We know the bragging rights that come with the World Cup. You look left out, so it's not good for someone like me who is a sports journalist. And I know it's even worse for the ordinary fan on the street, especially, we're Nigeria, we've got so many challenges. Most of the time, what takes us a little bit of our attention away from all the problems surrounding us as Nigerians is when the Super Eagles step on the pitch, everybody fall. Just that 90 minutes.
I mean, I don't follow until we're playing.
Yeah, but you feel the vibes from those around you.
Until we're playing.
Exactly. Good. Yeah. That's exactly my point. Even those who don't like football, the thing is, sometimes, like I had a sister once, when she's watching the game, they will score against Nigeria and she celebrates. She doesn't know who has scored, right? But the issue is that when I celebrate when Nigeria scores, She now celebrates with me. So that's the thing football can do. You know, you don't even really have to like it, but sometimes the joy that comes with it is infectious. Yeah, it can affect those around you positively. So it's really so sad that we're not there.
You know, what worries me most is the fact that we were drawn into Group C, you know, alongside countries like South Africa, Benin Republic, Rwanda, Zimbabwe, Lesotho, right? And the Nigerian Super Eagles still could not find a spot. Now, for me, what do you think was the issue? Was it the players? Was it the technical team? Was it the coaches? What was the issue?
Okay, a whole lot of everything we just talked about right now. I think the only thing that was not an issue was the support. The Super Eagles have never lacked support, right? Every other thing.
Support from?
I mean, fans now, obviously. So that's the only part of the system I'll take away, you know, from us not qualifying. When we started with a coach, a coach we wanted to sack after the AFCON. For some reason, we kept him on. So he took 2 games. And Nigeria, that's the qualifiers now. Nigeria picked up 2 points. And then brought Finidi George. Not everyone's favorite candidate. As coach at that time, I had no problem with him. But the problem was already on the ground. And Finidi took 1 point out of 2. Now, that's 3 points out of 4 games. That's out of a possible 12. The uproar, the outcry was so much. So Finidi was kicked out. You know, it was a complete mess. You understand? Then they brought this guy who's there now, Eric Schell. The outcry that followed his appointment was even worse than the one that followed the sacking of Finidi George. Everybody said, oh, Mali, can't we are Nigerians, we have people here who can do the job. But to be fair, we've tried Nigerians who can do the job at the Super Eagles level, apart from the late Stephen Keshi, God bless his soul. No one really gave us, you know, the exact thing we wanted. So when Eric Schell came, well, I was one of those who said, we know a little about this guy because he took Mali, his country, to the quarterfinal of the Africa Cup of Nations, the year earlier in Cote d'Ivoire, 2 years earlier in Cote d'Ivoire. So I said, okay, if we could do that, our destiny is already in jeopardy. The qualification process, because not only were did we just have 3 points, we were second bottom in the group, a 6-team group. 4 of the 5 teams above Nigeria already had 7 points. So what did that mean? Mathematically, if you're chasing down one team with 7 points in that group, every good result you have cuts into their lead. But if you're chasing down 4 countries with 7 points and you're 3. So what happens is, if you beat this one, it has absolutely no effect on the other 3 with 7 points who are playing other teams, as long as they win their games. And for every one you win, you have a game left to play, because at that time there were 6 left. So that was how it was. Even when we had the luck with South Africa putting a player they shouldn't have put and 3 points was deducted, it was too late. And you know, many said, "Oh, this was what?" I said, "No, nothing was wrong." Many of those countries didn't have good pitches, so some of them chose South Africa because they were basically Southern African nations. So they are not going to choose Morocco, where they're going to fly at 10 times the cost, what it would have cost them to go to South Africa. Now, this is on the, I'm now talking about the tactical distance. Now, our players, I mean, we couldn't beat Lesotho in Uyo, we couldn't beat Zimbabwe in Uyo, conceding last-minute goals. Coaching, is there. But you see, when it gets to that last minute, and you know that what's at stake is a World Cup ticket. A Europe-based player. These guys you're playing their domestic leagues in countries that are not even strong African football in nations like that. Well, they're all strong, but not at Nigeria's level or not anywhere near Nigeria's level. You can't hold a 1-0 lead from the first half or the second half. 90 minutes plus 5 minutes at a time, you can add to it. What are they doing around our half? What are they doing around our box? Right? So that's how those two. In fact, we even had to look for an equalizer against Lesotho, which was so shameful. Now, on the part of the Nigeria Football Federation, you know, who are in charge of all this, it's not easy to just point, this is what you did wrong, right? Many people point, oh, they did this, they did that. I'm not going to point at any single thing, but you expect they are there because they say, okay, they can do the job, right? Okay, so you expect that. If you wanted to take out a coach for non-performance, take him out. It affected us also in the AFCON in Cameroon in 2021 because a coach was sacked about 3 weeks or so to the start of the tournament. We didn't do well, right? Yes. So this coach was not doing well, and Nigeria wanted to sack him. Then we went to Cote d'Ivoire. He found one pattern that worked, and we reached the final. So instead of going ahead to do what they wanted to do, they let him there. Maybe that system can carry us through. But when we started again, it was back to what it was. All those, you understand, a whole lot of stuff. The funding was there. We've never really had a problem with funding. Players once in a while are owed, right? Yeah. But not the Super Eagles all the time. They do once in a while.
All right. I want you to hold that thought a bit. Let's go out on a very quick break. And when we get back, we'll keep up this conversation.
Okay.
Let's stay. Welcome back and thanks for staying with us. If you're just joining us, we have been having a conversation centered around, the Nigerian football, our Champions League, or not Champions League, World Cup that we are absent from. And we are having Chukwuemeka join us on the conversation this morning. Thank you so much again. Yeah. All right. Before we went on that break, you said something along the lines of the Nigerian football had never lost funding. Yeah. They always had funding. Yes. But according to reports here, we have seen that they said the NFF has been woeful for owing coaches, owing players. In fact, at some point, one of these, Jose Pesiro and Gernot, all had to go to the NFF directly to demand for their payment. Now, according to this, players also went on strike. I think it was 2 days before the game that was supposed to qualify them. All of these inconsistencies are things that are being seen, which, some Nigerians and analysts have said is the reason that we couldn't qualify for the match. Let's talk a bit about that funding and the structure within the system.
Okay, thank you. Remember, if you're my boss in an office, or I'm your boss, and it gets to time to pay my wages, and the money is there, you've not paid me, doesn't mean that the money is not there, right? Good. So it's a little bit of what happens. The NFF has always claimed that, because they are funded directly by the government through the Ministry of Sports, that, the process of releasing money is slow. Right? So, but most of the time, they do get these ad hoc arrangements where money can be sourced from somewhere or released, and then paperwork is being arranged later. Now, why I said the funding has never been the problem, it's not that people haven't been owed. No, the money has always been available, right? Because for that strike you mentioned, or those strikes you mentioned, for each time it happened, the money came out from somewhere, right? Yes.
From where?
That's exactly the point. From where? Wherever. For instance, we know when the next African Nations Cup is. It's June next year, right? There should be no reason why we'll get to March, April next year and the money hasn't been released for campaign and whatever else, right? So wherever the money comes from, these days they say it's the central bank, because they say, central bank, it has to pass through Ministry of Finance, pass through this or that or that. Everybody knows that this is the AFCON, this is the World Cup and all that. Now, that's where I would blame the NFF for not nailing down, this money access and its distribution. There's absolutely no need for all those, strikes. It will leave, because what they are claiming, it doesn't exactly hold water for many people. Why? It's been happening even before this one came on board, even before the other one came on board. But it got worse in the last two, the last two managements. You understand? So that was the problem. So when I said funding wasn't, it's because money was always available. So, but it's a problem because it wasn't always, easy, disbursed at the right time.
So is
the
NFF then corrupt?
To be honest with you, there are countless corruption cases in court. Some have been for years, some almost up to a decade. They've not been really indicted because they'll be kicked out if they were indicted. So as long as those cases are in court, no matter how guilty they are, I don't want to be the one to say, they are guilty, right? If the court has not found them guilty, right? So, but there are lots and many that look to be
very valid cases. You understand? There are also those who have been sensational. I mean, case, where people have, couldn't substantiate what they were alleging. So it's neither here nor there.
So would you say there are currently certain corrupt practices, if you would?
Yes, it's always been around there, because, for instance, AFCON comes around and a whole lot of human beings, are at the venues. It's not easy to travel to these tournaments or take part in these tournaments. Yes, it's a very expensive, quest. So, but first of all, in all this, the number one are the players, and then the part of the NFF that is in charge of something like the AFCON. But basically, it's like every tournament, is a jamboree for those who work there and their friends. And sometimes, you get there, the team doesn't need distractions. All they need is their money. They are not. It's not that is the money that makes them play or makes them. No, it does motivate them. It does. That's why they play. They are professional footballers. You understand? I mean, it's like me. If I'm working and I'm not getting paid, I'm going to look for another job. Absolutely. You understand? So that's it. The money does its work. But like I said, I don't want to be, blatant and say, oh, they did this or they did that. Mind you, I'm not the one handling the money for the NFF. It's what slips out. So like when our women's team, on 2 occasions, you understand? One they abandoned in Agra Hotel or something here in Abuja, and it happened a second time. So, and eventually the money came out. Where was the money all the while? You get, so those are the questions. I cannot answer directly because I'm not inside the NFL.
But you have mentioned that this has happened in like multiple administrations.
Multiple times,
and this seems to be like one of the major issues that the players face, getting remuneration for the payments that they've made. And you reiterated that they are professional players. Now, since we have been able to point out the problem, which is funding, and you have said it's not like the funding is not available, it's accessing the fund that has become such an issue.
Yeah, that's what has been said to be the issue. The problem.
All right. How do you think this can be resolved? Because we would have to face the same problem another time if it is not sorted out. How do you think that this problem can be resolved so that our players can concentrate fully, on the games?
Okay, I will say something. This government, Nigerians have different things to say about them, but I noticed that the personnel in charge of the National Sports Commission, that's the new name for the Nigerian Sports Ministry, are people who've been involved in football in the past. Shehu Diko, he's run for to be chairman on 2 occasions, and then he's been the chairman of the Nigerian League, which made him a second vice chairman. He worked under a former president, Amaju Pinnick, right? He's now the chairman of the National Sports Commission. So he is somebody who understands all the problems and most of those cases came during their tenure. So he's aware of all that. President Tinubu, I'll give him that, has tried to give them everything they asked for.
Okay.
Yes. Like I said, Nigerians have their issues in sports. They are the ones at the Sports Commission who come out to say everything we asked for we're given and given on time, and the money released on time. They used to say in Nigeria, approval doesn't mean disbursement, right? But this one, they will say money was approved and it was disbursed, right? So that we failed, to go to the World Cup again. I want to say that there are always those who want to see, okay, can we see, is there a deal here to be done here? Again, I don't want to look. I'm on live TV, so I don't want to say what I don't know. Right? It's what comes out that we work with. We are not inside the NFF accounts office or the NSC accounts office. So, but what I'm trying to say is that in terms of fund release, it's been a bit better since these guys came to office. But then the NFF still complains because I don't know what is released and what is not, because money is released for certain things beyond just paying in the players and going for the competition. There are support staff like these coaches you mentioned. So sometimes it's been a bit, okay, we'll pay you coach, you pay your assistants. Or if the deal is we'll pay you and pay your assistants. Sometimes almost every other coach that's coached Nigeria, including the late Keshi, was owned by the NFF. Right? And that's very, very sad. So it's something that has not and doesn't look like going away. Because there's been other times in the past when fund release was also, but still we had these issues.
Let's talk about our Nigerian football league basically, because when you were talking earlier about Lesotho, South Africa, you mentioned that these guys play together in their own football league, basically in their home country. How is the Nigeria football league right now as we speak?
Okay, the Nigerian professional football league, because that's what we call the top division, which is the the apex here, is okay. They're on break for now. Rangers International of Enugu are the champions, the second time in 3 years, and for the 9th time overall, which is a joint record with Enyimba. Now I know what you're asking, of course, is how is this mess affecting everything? The league is, once you put Nigeria there, you should know what's up. So the league is having issues as well. I actually, many people know me because I was a commentator for Super Sport and the Nigeria Premier Football League for about 7 or 8 years. That's the best the league has ever witnessed in its entire existence, because that was where someone brought out money to put out this league to, I mean, that was the first time I heard Nigerians, we went somewhere, we went to watch MPFL and all that. Okay. But then that's just the optical aspect of the league. The real league itself is bedeviled with far worse than what the Super Eagles are bedeviled with, because those ones can go on strike and, they get paid or, quickly and all that. Yeah. The league has always been underfunded, poorly run. The officiating every season. The best seasons we've had are where maybe there were 40 or 50 cases of hooliganism. And where does that stem from? Always the coaches. Always the officiating. But then some clubs have also made it that they are so badly behaved now that even when the match ends well, as long as they, especially the home sides, don't win, there are always some idiots who, go haywire on the refs. Okay. I blame the referees. Yes, they've not really upped their game over the years, but then there are some teams most of the time they punish those who misbehave by saying your next game is behind closed doors, and that means no fans will be in the stadium. You will go to a closed door game. The only people that are supposed to attend are the players, the teams playing, their coaches and officials, and journalists who cover the game. You will get there. No fans. That's why it's closed doors. Right. No fans. To make sure that nobody touches the referee or there's no violence, you go to closed door games. If there are 5 people that enter for some teams, it's the thugs that will beat up the referees. Right? Good. Now, over the years, the league has had different sponsors. Now there is a company that pays for the league and all that. And well, this company is trying, but it's not drifting down. Many clubs are still owned by state governments. When they change a governor, maybe his guys have been sorted with commissioner positions and all that, and then some haven't been sorted, and he will say, okay, who is in charge of that club? Get out. You, my guy from my party, get in there. And money is funneled most of the time because it's not a professional thing. It's a party thing. It's not a political thing. Okay. They don't care. The clubs get relegated. No, nothing happens. You understand? From my own state, a club got relegated 4 times in a row. One of the biggest clubs in Nigeria. And the guys who were in charge were still in charge. How can this be so? I'm going to say something now. Just 2 days, it was Monday, okay, this week. They held a key meeting trying to address all these things we're talking about. The NSC and the NFF. And it was a bombshell what came out from there, especially as it pertains to the league. Because the other thing was that Eric Shell, the Super Eagles coach, will now handle Nigeria's under-23 team. So that's the guy. So many are saying, won't he be overworked? Well, when they asked me, I said, I don't think so, because the under-23s only play the Olympics. And mostly during the period, he will be free from Super Eagles qualifiers or competitions. Okay. Yes, and usually it's about 2 or 3 rounds of qualifiers to qualify or fail not to qualify for the Olympics. So that's aside. On the league, that's the main one that shocked everybody. They now said that whoever wins the league from this season, that's the next season starts hopefully September, will get a winning prize of 1 billion naira. It's never happened before. The highest amount we had was 200 million. There was a time in the past they graded it from number 1 to 20. That's 20 is the bottom place in the league. So they share the money. But this 1 billion they're saying, first, everybody's asking, where is it coming from? We don't know yet. Now, it's not just that. They're also grading amounts. The guys who finished second take 800 million. Yeah. That's 4 times the value of the guy who won the last one. Yeah. Then the next one, 700 million, you know, like that, to the last guy. So if you tally it, it's almost more than 10 billion. Yeah. So it's got to come from somewhere. And then another issue, they said they mandate every club to pay each player 2 million naira a month. They call it a living wage. I love all those theoretically, right? In the taste of the pudding is in the eating. Many of these clubs can't pay it. They tried it in the past. Yeah. And players were owed so much, right? Yeah, because there's a lot of corruption at the clubs. But now the league is changing gradually. Almost more than a quarter of the league now is made up of privately owned teams. Okay. You cannot tell a guy who suffers for his money to pay 2 million if he has written an agreement with a player for 400,000 or 500,000.
I think they say it was about 150.
Some do take that. Yeah. Yes, some do take that because it was more than that. And then when they found out it was an issue, it was whittled down, right? Yeah. So if I own a club or you own a club, nobody should mandate you to pay 2 million a month to a player. Because look at the problem with paying sportsmen and women. Whether they are fit or not, you're paying. Yeah. Even when their legs are broken, they're in hospital, they won't play for 1 year, you will pay. It's a contract. It's not like, maybe you travel abroad for 2 years and they say, without pay until you come back. No, they don't do football like that. When you hear Ronaldo is paid $1 million a week, it is, whether his leg is broken or not, he gets it. Now, the state governments can easily pay. Some even see it is now likely a political gimmick. Okay, pay them. You understand? I know that. I can't come and tell a private person who can't pay this amount that, you throw his team out of the league. So I had felt that they would have said, okay, let's give the state governments maybe 3 years or 4 years to institute that. And then privately owned clubs, 5 or 6 years ahead to institute that. So you work towards being able to do that. So doing it for fiat and saying it will start next season, I don't know how that works, to be honest with you. But if they can get it working, both the money, because 1 billion naira, to be honest, plays 2 seasons for you, 2 whole seasons. Yeah. And the poor destiny of Nigerian football, the poor management style, mean our clubs don't do well on the continent. I told someone, I was tallying Al Ahly of Egypt's income since the start of the Champions League in 1999. Because if you win it, you go to the Club World Cup. Sure. They have made more than 50 billion naira in just winnings. So they pay players more than some Eastern European countries like Czech Republic, Bulgaria, Romania, Croatia, and all that in Egypt. So are you surprised why most of their players at the World Cup are home based? Look at South Africa. South Africa has made the knockout stage for the first time. I know many Nigerians are not going to be happy about that. But you understand, these guys use 95% home-based players. And look at what they're doing. So it's something that if it works well, it drifts down. Nigeria, our strength is our Euro-based players. We're not even thinking of those at
and
home.
Some of our players are refusing to even play for Nigerians home play because of this. But let's talk about this ground or this, how do I call it, talent development here within Nigeria. Because since you've mentioned South Africa, because the likes of JJ Okocha was discovered on a street football play somewhere around Enugu. And the same with Rashidi Yekini through local leagues. But the system that has produced these, players that we so celebrate over the years and some that we celebrate now have been shut out. So what would it cost to rebuild a system where we can grow Nigerians to a system where they can play anywhere in the world and they don't leave us to other European leagues?
Okay, if I live here, since last week I've been, Nigeria has never lacked for grassroots competitions. So, but it seems the potentially greatest country in the world always shoots itself in the head, not even in the leg, right? So if I live here, I'm going for a grassroots. There's a schools tournament. I'm not going to call the name before you guys will tax me. But there's a schools football competition. It's being organized by an individual. What these people need is support, right? Now, the ones you mentioned, of course, they are apt examples. J.J. Okocha is one of the greatest footballers, not just for Nigeria, Africa, even in the world. Yeah, picked up somewhere by someone. But if you work in a very corrupt system, it enters everywhere. You see kids who can play, not making teams, and then you see, where did they bring this one from? Then the Nigerian self, right? Because of, the Golden Eaglets train every morning at the Go Project Pay, which is, I'll be there, sometime later. And you see the talent these guys have. The school competition I'm talking about, they come and you see some kids there in school playing as well, almost better than, the ones you are seeing playing for the national teams. But that's not just the problem. The main problem is that somebody picks up a phone. Let's say you're a senator or the wife of a governor. So you pick up a phone, call someone. Oh, I've got this kid. I think he can play. I'd like him in your team. I will blame the NFF, but not completely. It is not very easy to always say no to power. To be honest, that is the truth. You can.
But don't you think that's the reason private...
Wait, I said I will blame them. Yeah. Get the point. Sometimes we don't value the pressure very well. Yeah? Our society isn't the West.
Yeah.
In the West, the lowest person, even though it's still tough there, can get justice somehow. Right? You see over here, even middle class, even upper middle class, sometimes struggle, to get what the nouveau rich, gets. So the NFF can say no. Like, see that funding we talked about? Yeah, those people who can say,
can fund it.
Can we just pin it down to 1 week to the tournament? I'm telling you. So again, I said I'm not in the accounts department, but things happen that make things very, very difficult. So grassroots competitions, there are so many of them, right? But the NFF, they run all football in Nigeria, should probably do a lot more there. For some time, someone was telling me at the stadium yesterday that we are not even doing well at the under-17 we had again, that we were the best before. I said, look at it very well. I'm happy now that we're not doing well at under-17. He said, what do I mean? Am I an enemy of Nigeria? I said, of course not. When we were doing well, we had guys who were older than players, some players in the Super Eagles playing under 17. I didn't want us to win that way. So since the advent of MRI, our wins, even to qualify, is a problem. Our wins have disappeared. But do you know what that does for me? When Nigerians used to insult maybe the South African League, that, they can't do whatever at the AFCON, I told them, I said, see, the actual dream of every country is to have your national team players come from the league. So the grassroots thing is there, but it's not being well harnessed. That's all I can say.
All right, let's talk about your own people now. Talking about the sports writers, Now, journalists are supposed to actually watch the NFL very closely.
Yes.
And also expose the corruption or bad management that comes from there. But today, it seems like what sports writers do basically is just
be careful what you say.
Right, like I said, it seems like you rain praises. You rain praises on the NFF more than you basically want to expose some of the.
He has been very diplomatic himself.
No, sorry. Let me say something. Okay. I have to be careful if I do not have paperwork. If I don't have it with me, that this actually was money spent when it shouldn't have been. So I told you, yes, there have been those allegations. Many look extremely valid, but I'm not going to tell you here, oh, this guy wasted this amount of money, because I don't have it. If I did have, I'm not afraid of anything. I'll just lay it out here. Right. So for sports writers, okay, you see the advent of these stuff we use, these devices, the digital world, social media, is leveled a whole lot of. They say social media is a leveler, right? It's leveled a whole lot of things. Now, before, sports writers were one united single body. And when they took decisions, every sports writer went with it. The advent of social media created a twist, in that if you have your blog or you have your website and you saw things a certain way, or maybe are friendly to someone in the corridors of power or sports power or football power, I could write exactly not to undermine, to say something that is negative because it happened. You will embellish your story and say the exact opposite. And we all put it out there to the general public, right? Now, that creates an issue. Some people, that's the way life is. Some people, we drift towards you who said, oh, they are corrupt, and maybe they are really corrupt. And some will drift towards you who says, don't mind those guys, because one thing or the other, they are just trying to blame someone. Now, it's a huge problem now in the sports journalism business. The single voice is gone. Yes, it's now discordant voices. Everyone says their own. Unfortunately, that hasn't also helped. Maybe, when chaos reigns, people think, oh, so many people are willing to, let's take the one that puts money in my pocket, because somebody who you're, rubbing cream on and stuff wouldn't mind paying you if you're helping him deal with some of the heat from the other side. And that's what happens. So these days, you see, Swan says something. People are willing to disobey on their own, as themselves. Maybe an association where you pull out 1,000. 5 guys, we say, no, we wouldn't do it like the other 995. And because they've got a voice that people can hear them outside, it becomes difficult to rein them in. So it's been a problem as well.
All right. I think this is where we're going to wrap it up right now, because we're way past our time. But we just want to say thank you so much to Kelechi Onwudiwe for joining us on the conversation this morning. Now, we're hoping that all of these issues that we have pointed out today is resolved, because again, if we have the money, then why do we stall in providing it and making it available for the players who go to represent us, at the national and international levels? But let's hear what Victor's final thoughts will be on this.
For me, I think one of the things that worries me from the very fact that the Super Eagles did not qualify for the World Cup is some of those international recognition that our players are supposed to have and get. Some of the sponsorship that could have also come out from FIFA, all of those funds that would have also come into the Nigerian football as it is. Now, we didn't get to have all of those, which is also going to be some of the challenges as it is. But I do hope that the quality and the market value of our players remains the same. I hope it does not reduce. The likes of Victor Osimhen, the likes of Ademola Lookman, these are our star players, Kevin Bassey, all of our players, even the newbies, that we're really hoping to get onto the world stage. It would have been a very, very good platform for them to actually show themselves to the world. And of course, bigger clubs would have seen them and of course begin to bid for them. But they missed out another opportunity. And I do hope that, it doesn't affect them so much.
All right, that is where we wrap it up this morning on Rapid Dawn. I hope you had a fantastic time listening. But just to remind us, we're active across social media platforms, on Facebook, on Instagram, on X, and on Twitter. Still, it is at Rapid TV. On YouTube, it is at official Rapid TV. And www.rbnradiotv.com allows you to connect with us from anywhere in the world. Thank you so much for joining us. My name is Martha Alu.
My name is Victor. Okay, we'll see you tomorrow.